Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jonathan. This is Trevor. We're the Alamo City Living team. And here on this channel, we talk about everything you want to know about living in San Antonio. We help people all the time who are relocating their families to San Antonio. So if that's you, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button or contact us. Our information is popping up on the screen right now.
And today we're going to be talking about some of the top real estate questions that are being asked today. So let's get right into it.
Let's do it. All right, guys, the first question that we have is, what should I look for in a neighborhood before buying a home? That is a really good question. The very first thing that I would suggest when searching a neighborhood is you want to check out the safety of the neighborhood. There are a lot of ways that you can do that, but it's really important to do it because you would hate to move into a neighborhood, you found the perfect home, you move in only to find that it is just ravaged all the time with robberies, car burglaries, and things like that. So check out the safety of the neighborhood. Some really good websites to do that would be crimegrade.org. sanantonio.gov website is also a really good one to check out because they post all of the crime stats for all over town, and that is great. You can also check out niche.com. They post some stats on there as well. All right, guys, the next thing that you really want to pay attention to are the school districts. There are lots of school districts in San Antonio. There are lots of school districts in Texas, and school districts can really add to the desirability of the neighborhood. And they can really play a pivotal part of your resale. If you are in an area with really low ratings, the values of your home take a long time to go up. They might just stay stagnant, or you might decrease in value altogether. So whether you have kids or not, really focusing on the school districts are really important. We talk about that a lot.
And actually we have a video on that too. We actually talk about the school districts to go into detail, talk about the ratings, talk about the information that's out there. So we'll actually drop that link right up here.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere on this page, we'll drop that link so you can go check that video out when you're ready.
Now, there are some great websites, again, that you can check out that will just really help guide that research. Greatschools.org, our website, Alamo City Living Team.
It's my favorite.
.com. This is a great website. We actually have an interactive map on our website where you can click on different parts of town and it'll bring up all the stats, homes, and everything right there. So make sure you check that out. All right, guys, another thing that should guide your research in a neighborhood would be looking for things like amenities, grocery stores, parks. These are all things that they help with quality of life. These are all quality of life issues. Now, that's not always important to a lot of people. We recently helped a family move a little bit further out from the city, and they just love country living, and so they weren't really concerned with being close to the zoo or close to museums. But if you know that these things are important to your family, then you're definitely going to want to make sure that the neighborhood that you're looking at is in close proximity to those things. All right, guys, and the final thing that's really important is making sure that you're close to your job. I mean, gosh, we get people who move here from places like Los Angeles or San Francisco area, and they're used to traveling really, really far to work. That might not be a big deal for them. You really, across town here in San Antonio, about 45 minutes. But if you only want a 15 or 20 minute commute to work, then you definitely want to make sure that the neighborhood that you're looking at is going to be within that distance.
All right, guys, next question. So what are closing costs and how much can I expect to pay? Great question. Closing costs are the fees that you're going to pay whenever you're finalizing the purchase of your home. And they're going to include things like taxes, insurance, and in some cases, funding fees for your loan. Now, typically, you can expect them to run between 2 and 5% of the total purchase price of what that house is that you're buying. Now, to get even more specific, a large chunk of that is going to go into things like property taxes, loan fees, funding fees, and even homeowners insurance specifically. And there are definitely ways that you can manage a lot of these costs, right? Number one being you can negotiate with the seller to ask them to see if they're going to cover it. Now, a lot of that is going to depend on what kind of market that we're in. So a lot of that is going to be circumstantial, depending on your offer, depending on the market, depending on the neighborhood, things like that. But negotiating with the seller is always a great option.
Now, one thing I want to throw in there when it comes to negotiating with the seller, depending on the loan type that you have, it can dictate how much you can actually ask from the seller. Some loans don't allow sellers to contribute more than X amount of dollars towards your closing costs. So that is something to consider.
Yes.
And I know that you were going to bring this next point up. When it comes to negotiating, you also want to negotiate with your lender.
Yes.
Now, that's not something that you hear often. And when I say negotiate with your lender is when we talk about closing costs being from 1 to 5 percent or whatever, a lot of that does have to do with like lender fees.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So shopping lenders is always a good idea, right? It's like when you're shopping for a car. Don't just buy the first car that you test drive, right? Shop around, see what other dealers have to offer. Same exact thing goes with lenders, and actually the same exact thing goes with homeowners insurance as well. They're not all created equal, they don't all cost the same, and they're always trying to improve their prices so that you'll go with them over the competitor. Last really good way to help manage these costs are going to be first-time homebuyer programs. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to you if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, 17th home that you're purchasing, but if it is your first time buying a home, there are a lot of programs out there that will assist you, and a lot of the times they'll assist you with closing costs and even some of the fees, so you can expect to pay less. So if you are a first-time home buyer, let the real estate agent know so that way they can explore those programs and save you as much money as possible.
All right, guys, the next question that we have is, what are the top mistakes that first-time home buyers make? Well, I think this is really, what are the top mistakes that a lot of home buyers make?
Yeah.
Really, I think the biggest one is not budgeting for maintenance costs. A lot of times people move into the home, they've saved just enough money to get into the home, and they just don't budget for any unexpected maintenance items. A home is just like a vehicle. You have to take care of it. And a lot of times people move into a house and they immediately run into issues, whether it be with their HVAC, with their, their water heater, with their roof. God forbid they have a leak even behind the walls. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. Now, of course, we are going to have things like homeowners insurance, but you want to budget for maintenance costs. Even if you are buying a new construction home, which comes with a warranty on some of the major systems of the home, you still want to make sure that you're budgeting just every single month, you're putting money aside for these maintenance costs. Okay, another big thing that we see is people purchasing, or first-time home buyers especially, purchasing a home at the very top of their budget. Now, oftentimes your lender will provide you a pre-approval letter, and it is based off of, some factors like how much money you make every single month. Just because your lender approves you for a certain amount of money, you have to be realistic with what you can actually afford day to day. And a lot of times people move in, they purchase a home at the top of their budget, and they run into issues a few months down the road. Now, one of the things that we experience here in Texas are high property taxes, and these property taxes seem to rise a little bit every single year.
Every year, man.
And when your property taxes rise, your mortgage goes up, because part of your mortgage is your property taxes. So you want to make sure that you are just really honest with what you make, with how you're budgeting your funds, and making sure that you can account for some of these minute changes every year.
Absolutely. And if I can just add on that too, something that you can help do to mitigate some of those costs, file your homestead exemption. If it's not an investment property, you're living in the house, file your homestead exemption. Right. It's going to cap off exactly how much your taxes can increase every single year. So let's say the value of your home is, $400,000. The next year, the county appraises your home at $450,000. Well, if you have your homestead exemption in place and already on file with the county, it's going to cap that. So instead of saying $450,000 is what we're going to charge you for your taxes, it's going to be more like, no, $415,000, $420,000. I don't know the exact number, but you can expect to see a lot less of an increase in your property tax value that the county gives you. So just a quick little tip, make sure you always file that homestead exemption. All right, guys, next question. What is the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval?
Oh,
that's a good question.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So a pre-qualification is the estimate of what you can afford based on the info that you give. There's no deep dive into your finances. There's not a lender looking into it. It's just a quick estimate looking at a couple of numbers that you provide. Now, a pre-approval, on the other hand, that's the real deal. So the lender is going to check all of your financial documents, all of your financial history, and provide you with an actual pre-approval letter of exactly how much you can afford and how much that lender is willing to give you. Now, a pre-approval is, I can't stress this enough, critical whenever you're serious about buying a home, because it's going to show the seller that you're ready to go. You're not messing around. Plus, if you're in a competitive market, depending on where you're at, a pre-approval letter a lot of the times can often make offers stand out, especially against ones who haven't gotten that pre-approval yet ready to go, right?
Right, yeah. Absolutely. If you have two different buyers, both put in an offer and one does not submit a pre-approval, then the seller is definitely going to look at the buyer who has the pre-approval. Oftentimes what we see when we submit offers, the seller will submit what's called offer instructions, just letting you know how they want the offer submitted to them. And oftentimes in the offer instructions, it will say submit pre-approval letter with your offer, or they won't even look at it. So it's very important to get that pre-approval.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, the next question that we have, we often get this, is what is the difference between a buyer's market and a seller's market? When we're talking about a buyer's market and a seller's market, we are referring to the balance of supply and demand. Simple as that. Typically, when you see there is 6-month inventory in your market, then we're looking at a balanced market. When we are below 6 months of inventory, that means, there's not enough inventory on the market that'll go 6 months, then that means we are in a seller's market. So right now in San Antonio, we are right at about 4.8 months worth of inventory. Now, technically that is a seller's market. However, what we're seeing, especially when it comes to new construction, is that this is still really a buyer's market. We're seeing a lot of incentives from builders thrown at buyers to entice them to buy homes with them. We're seeing a lot of homes that these builders have on inventory, still reducing prices on those homes to have buyers, go in and buy those houses.
Yeah, and truth be told, that's what they're doing to combat some of these high interest rates whenever you're buying resale.
Absolutely. Now, what we're seeing on the resale side, and I won't get into market, stuff right now, but what we're seeing on the resale side right now with 4.8 months of inventory, it really depends on the area of town that you're looking to purchase. Some neighborhoods just don't have a whole lot of inventory, and so when a house pops up on the market, that seller really can, be a little bit more, especially if it's a desirable neighborhood, they can really say whether or not they're going to throw concessions at the buyer or not, because you might have multiple buyers putting in offers there. But for the most part, the market here seems to be kind of flat, and it can go either way.
All right, next question. What is an escrow account, and do I need one? That is a good question. I think the term escrow gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of people don't really know what it means. So let's clarify. An escrow account is like a savings account that your lender uses to set aside money for property taxes and insurance. You pay a little bit extra each month on top of your mortgage, and the lender makes sure that those bills get paid on time when they're due. Now, on the consumer side, it's great for budgeting because you're not going to get hit with any crazy high bills out of nowhere. But on the lender side, to be honest with you, most lenders are going to require it. And the reason why is because it's going to protect their investment. If they lend you money, they want to make sure that all of those bills are going to be properly paid on time. But all in all, even if the lender doesn't actually require you to have an escrow account, it still may not be a bad idea to have one just to simplify your life.
Oftentimes when you go into your lender's portal or website, you can see how much money is in your escrow account. Whenever you get your property tax bill at the end of the year, that property tax bill is going to come to you, but your lender is also going to see that, and then they're just going to automatically pay your property taxes for you on your behalf, like Trevor was talking about, and you don't have to worry about it. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that if you are purchasing a home with the VA loan, you don't have to have an escrow account. A lot of people don't know that. But your lender, like you were saying, will probably require you to have an escrow account because the escrow account protects them. They want to know that your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance are getting paid every month on time, and they want to know that their asset is being protected. So most of the time, you're right. Yeah, your lender is going to require an escrow account. Okay, guys, if you are moving from out of state, this question you might have as well. How long does the home buying process take here in Texas? Now, when we're talking about the home buying process and how long it takes, we're talking about from the time we're under contract to the time we're at the closing table signing documents. And this typically takes 30 to 45 days. If everything goes just perfect, right? Which, fingers crossed it does, then we're looking at 30 days. There are some situations and circumstances that could push it out to 45 days. Very rarely do we see it go past 45 days, but we're gonna go under contract. You're gonna be in your due diligence phase at that point. That's when we're getting inspections done on the house. We're making sure that the condition of the house is what you expect it to be in. Title company, they're gonna open up title on the house. What this means is they're gonna make sure that the seller has a right to sell the house to you. This takes a few weeks in order for them to make sure that the history of that home is good to go. Your lender is also going to go into loan approval. Now, although you do have a pre-approval that they've given you, right? They've looked at some of your financial history. They are just going to verify that everything is good to go. Remember, They're giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. They want to make sure that you're going to be able to repay that. So this can take usually 20 to 25 days, sometimes a little bit quicker depending on your lender. So all these things together is going to push your closing period out to about 30 days.
Now, there are some circumstances where I've seen it personally less. If you're buying cash, for instance, you don't have to have a lender approval. You don't need any of that stuff. I've seen it too. Yeah, I've seen 10 days, I've seen 14 days. So if you're just buying cash, you can expect that to be a little bit quicker in most circumstances. But if you're going to have to borrow money so that way you can purchase your home, 30 to 45 days is a pretty good estimate on how long it's going to take. Last question of the day. Should I use a real estate agent if I'm buying a new construction home?
Yes.
Absolutely. The builders, salespeople that they have working in those offices that you go into, they work for the builder. They don't work for you, even though they're really nice. When you hire an agent to have on your side, they can help you with things like negotiating the price, terms and conditions, upgrades, things like that. And on top of that, they know the market, right? So they can ensure that you're not going to be severely overpaying for this home that you're supposed to be buying for a really good price. And plus, new build contracts, sometimes they can be a little bit tricky. And while sometimes they might skim through them and make them seem really easy, there might be a couple of loopholes in there. And it's always good to have an extra set of eyes who's used to looking at those type of documents to go over those with you to ensure that you're not getting screwed over and you're getting the best deal possible.
Sometimes if you are just really eager to purchase a home in this neighborhood, that builder might not necessarily offer you anything extra, because why would they? You're ready to go. Now, oftentimes, and we've seen this plenty of times with our clients who have purchased new construction homes, we're familiar with the neighborhood. We're familiar with some of the things that that particular builder is willing to do, and we've been able to negotiate a lot of upgrades for some of our clients. One example, we helped a client purchase a home from dirt. So this is going to be an 8 to 9 month build. And as we got closer to closing, that builder had a great incentive option for new people who were coming in to purchase from dirt. But that wasn't available to this client that we had. But we were able to negotiate that new incentive to this client, although their house was just about to be done. And if it wasn't for us doing that on their behalf, they would have missed out on tens of thousands of dollars in concessions.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And to add on that, man, even though that the house is new, I can't stress this enough, home inspections are critical. They are super, super important. And when you have an agent on your side, they're gonna be finding an inspector and get that scheduled to make sure that those things are going to be squared away in that house. Because again, even though it's a new house, just because it's new, doesn't mean it's perfect. So have that inspection done, work with a realtor, help them get that squared away for you before you buy the house.
So having a real estate agent who is there able to advocate for you on your behalf is a big deal. And guess what, guys? It oftentimes doesn't cost you anything, because that builder, part of their concession package is paying for your agent. So keep that in mind if you're looking at a new build. All right, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this video and it answered some of your questions. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We do post videos every single week, and we would love for you to come back and check these videos out. Now, remember, we are real estate agents here in San Antonio, and we do help people just like you who are looking to relocate and move their families here. So make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We would love to help you.
And if you do have other questions that maybe we didn't get to today, make sure you drop them in the comment section so we can answer those questions. We'll make another video, and man, we'll answer a whole new set of questions. Drop them below. We would love to hear from you. Guys, thank you so much for watching our stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We would love the opportunity to help you and your family make that smooth move here to San Antonio. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching our stuff. Catch you in the next one.